Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trek Jitsu. My name's Paul, and I'm really excited about this show that we have for you guys today. My guest today is Michael Liera Jr. Michael is a 3-times world champion, a 5-times Pan American champion, a 10-times American national champion, a NoGi World Champion, a World Pro Champion for Abu Dhabi Federation, a 3-time World Pro Champion, World Pro Trials champion, and a European champion. Michael is a black belt under Professor Andre Galvao out of Atos in San Diego, California. Michael is one of the top competitors out of Team Atos. They're one of the best schools in the whole world for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Michael is quickly becoming one of the most exciting and most successful competitors in our sport. Lucky for me, Michael was doing a round of seminars around Asia and Europe and a bunch of other places. He talks about it a little bit in the podcast, but he came through Germany to teach some seminars. So I met up with him at a seminar he was teaching at Ramstein Jiu-Jitsu Club in Ramstein, Germany, and he taught a really great seminar. He taught some daily Hiva guard passes, some sweeps from the closed guard, and a lot of other really great information. It was truly awesome to get to train with him. And I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to go to one of his seminars, you really take that opportunity because you will not be disappointed. He's the man. Also, while we're recording this seminar, you'll hear some rolling going on in the background, some buzzers and things like that. You've done jiu-jitsu before, so you know the drill. There's buzzers, there's beeps, people getting tapped out. Just know that your fellow jiu-jitsu family was getting after it, having some good rolls. So I really hope you guys enjoy the show, and please welcome Michael Liera Jr. Michael Liera Jr., what's going on, man?
Not much. Just finished my seminar here at the Ramstein Air Base.
If you're German, Ramstein. Meisenbach. Thanks a lot for coming out and doing this seminar. I know you're in the middle of a world tour. We were talking about that a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, this is pretty much like the last leg of my world tour. I started with North America. I did Seattle, Denver, Seattle, Toronto, and then New York, and then all across the States for 3 weeks. And then I stayed home for about 4 or 5 days, and then I went to Asia. So I went to the Philippines, Japan, and Guam for a month. And then the third month, I'm here in Europe. So I started in Switzerland, and then I moved on to Germany, and then I have Spain, and I think Spain, the UK, Ireland, and Italy left, and then home sweet home.
Is there any method to the madness of picking where you're going to teach a seminar? Like, for example, are you trying to focus on Atos places, or is it kind of you want to experience a little bit of everything?
I try to get a taste of everything. I really don't care where I go. Everywhere I've been, I learn something, I see something, I'm exposed to something new. So it really doesn't matter to me. It really helps too that every time I go, I end up staying with locals and jiu-jitsu people. It seems like everywhere I go, I already have family. So it's never really true traveling. I'm never really by myself. So I really don't mind. I really don't care. I'll go anywhere.
What was your opinion of the jiu-jitsu scene in Asia? I know that they're kind of getting started in a lot of those countries. What did you think of the level over there?
Well, so far I haven't seen much of Asia. I've been to Tokyo 4 times. I've been to Guam, but that's not really Asia. and I've been to the Philippines. But besides that, I haven't really gone in and seen too much of Asia's jiu-jitsu scene, although I did go to Asia Open this year.
Oh, how was that?
And Asia Open was cool. I was supposed to compete, but when I was in the Philippines, I had to book my flight from the Philippines to the Asia Open like very close to the tournament, and my flight got canceled.
Oh, that sucks.
So I missed my fights. But I got to go and I got to see the tournament. It was really cool. It's held at the same venue that the Judo Olympics is going to be held at in 2020. So it was a cool venue. It's a cool vibe, way different than any other tournament I've been to. And the level's high. The level's high, especially at the lower belts. Like pretty much everywhere you go, if the level's not high at the black and brown belt, it's high at the blue and purple, at the lower belts.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're coming up.
Yeah.
Because even in places that don't have the best instructors, there's so much content online. There's so much stuff on YouTube or DVDs or whatever that it doesn't really matter anymore. You could get good anywhere. So I think pretty soon jiu-jitsu is going to be worldwide. Like high level jiu-jitsu is going to be worldwide.
Yeah, I think so too. I've noticed the same. I was just training in Poland for 5 months, and for them it's a little different. They have a lot of black belts in Poland, and so it's a little different for them right now. But when they started, in the last couple decades, they got started because they have lots of judo, they have lots of wrestling and things like that.
Yeah, they got a lot of tough motherfuckers. That's
Exactly.
what they got.
Yeah, they're bad motherfuckers over there. And in Bulgaria, Romania, all these places. And now they're catching on to jiu-jitsu. And it's almost like we saw that with Poland and Scandinavia a little bit too. And they're very high level now. So.
Yeah, I mean, out of Europe, I've done mainly just a lot of Western Europe. Like I haven't gone into like Poland or any of Eastern Europe. So for the most part, I'm staying in like Spain, Portugal, like Ireland, the UK. But eventually, maybe the next year's tour, I'll try to hop over there and see the scene.
I can hook you up with some
do
people
it.
who would love to have you.
Let's go. Yeah,
Seriously,
I'm down.
But yeah. Where else are you heading in Germany?
This is actually my last stop. Tomorrow I'm gonna spend one more day with a good friend of mine who lives here in Stuttgart, and then Sunday I'm headed out to Spain.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
You're gonna have a blast, man. That sounds like such a fun adventure.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah, it sounds really great. So, just kind of off of this seminar, the biggest aha moment I had, I told you this when we rolled, is the pressure that you brought. You bring it the pressure. Seriously, you had me okay. So I was your uke for one of the moves. You had me turtle. You had me go from knee on belly, and then you were like, okay, go ahead and turtle up. And I couldn't. I could barely do it. I looked like such a pussy. I was like, man, I can't even, because your knee was so tight.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Well, I mean, there's not much of a secret. It's just like for a lot of my jiu-jitsu career so far, jiu-jitsu journey, whatever you want to call it. Like I've been a guard player, and that stems back all the way from when I started, when I was like a white belt and yellow belt. Like I was never really into takedowns, so I always pulled guard. And now that I'm reaching, not only high level, but like the highest with Jiu-Jitsu Worlds and stuff, I've been working a lot on completing my game, with some good passing and focusing a lot on my pressure. So really, I was just drilling. Like I just kind of focused on the technique. I watched a lot of the higher level guys, like the higher level passers, like Leandro Lowe and Rodolfo. And even my instructor, Andre, and Keenan, who has influenced my passing a lot as well. And I've just been working on it a lot. And just focusing on always putting, maximum pressure, being in an optimal position at all times, where I'm not like just trying to muscle my way through, but just being in a good body position to put like that maximum pressure on the guy.
I know this is kind of a very hard question to maybe answer over audio, but what's like one mistake that you see a lot of people making when they're trying to pass the guard or put big pressure on their opponent?
I think one like really big misconception in jiu-jitsu, especially in passing, is that like to put pressure or to put like that weight on the guy that you literally need to like lean forward and drive your weight on him. Like a lot of times when you do that, you're like committing your weight and you're giving the guy like leverage to get underneath you and like, you know, like start to lift you. A lot of times for me, like I feel that it's more heavy if I'm literally just standing like in my own center of gravity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I'm literally leaning on you and you hip escape, I'm gonna be off balance. But if I'm just standing and you're trying to pull my collar or anything like that, it's gonna be really hard for you to break my base. You know?
Yeah.
So like a lot of my passing, like what we were doing today with like standing a little bit more tall rather than like squatting down and driving into the guy, like you'll feel that it's like a lot more pressure, you know, than if I were just trying to smash and put my weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I really liked what you said about like when you're trying to pass De La Riva guard, you don't squat down. So that's something I do all the time, and I get swept every time.
Yeah, I feel like like you said, it's gonna be hard to describe over a podcast, but real simply, like when you squat and you put your leg at that 90-degree angle, that's literally the angle that the De La Riva hook fits into. You know what I mean? Like when you think about the De La Riva hook, like it needs that angle basically. But when you lock out your leg, there's nowhere for that hook to really go. So lately I've been using that, and besides that, when you're squatted like that, when you're passing really low, or like with your hips low, it's tiring. You're in a squat position.
It's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, to where like when you're standing, you're very mobile, and at any point you can drop really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier for you to drop than for you to stand back up and move. So for me, I've been working on a lot of stuff like that, different concepts, like changing up my passing that way.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Keenan has a really big influence on that style for me. He's a real tall passer with like lanky arms and legs.
Yeah.
And it always seems like he's so far, you know, like he's so far from you when you're passing or when you're playing guard on him. So I've been trying to like, you know, just kind of apply those types of concepts to my jiu-jitsu.
That's awesome. Man, all those guys must have had. It's so cool that you get to train with those people. That's really neat.
Yeah, those guys, like I said, I've been gone for like 7 weeks from home, and I have 5 more weeks to go. And the number one thing I miss about, you know, San Diego is my home, my jiu-jitsu academy. Like I love doing jiu-jitsu at other places, but there's nowhere like home. Atos is like the most happy place for me.
That's awesome.
Yep.
What do the practices look like at Atos? Like, what does the daily grind entail?
We have like normal classes all day long at like 6:15 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 9 a.m., and then 11 a.m. is our comp class. Actually, it's at 10:30, and then that's 2 hours, and that's like the real grueling sparring session that we really try to grind and get at it in those 2 hours. And then we have our big group class at night where it's mixed between competitors and our normal students.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone just tries to do their best. We all try to push each other. We have a good vibe with each other, a good group of people. We all get along, and we all want to see each other do well. So we all just try to push each other to the best of our ability, and yeah, it's my favorite place to be. It's a great environment for getting better.
At the very high level, this is something that I've wondered about a lot. At the very high level, like where you are, Keenan, Andre Galvao, those people, do you do anything resembling the standard jiu-jitsu class format where it's like a warm-up, technique, and then roll? You know, like warm-up, drills, technique, and then rolling. That's like, 99% of jiu-jitsu gyms across the world have something like that. Or is it like very structured, like periodized training, if you know what I mean? Like one day is a lot of technique, another day is a lot of rolling, things like that.
Our normal jiu-jitsu classes are pretty standard, like a warm-up and technique and sparring. Or like for me, when I teach, I like to, instead of doing a warm-up, I like doing drills to warm up. I feel like if we have like an hour and a half or 2 hours to do jiu-jitsu, then we should probably, spend as much of it as we can, working on our jiu-jitsu. So like for me, I don't really like to do like running and jumping jacks. I like to do a lot of drills, and then so a little bit of technique, and then some sparring. But for our comp class, I never know. Some days it's like 10 rounds of 10 minutes. Some days it's, like a bunch of drills. Some days it's like a workout. Some days you just never know. You never know. Yeah.
Do you think that, so going back a little bit, does Andre Galvao teach all the competition classes, or does it kind of cycle between various people?
Every day that Andre Galvao's there, he teaches. He runs the comp class. Yeah, he's the coach.
When he teaches, do you and you like you just said, you don't know what to expect. Do you think that does he have like a plan? Like did he write it out months in advance, saying like today will be rough day, today will be rolling, or does he kind of like gauge it depending on where everyone's at for that day?
He plans it out. I know he writes it all out. I know he has a structured plan in his head.
Yeah.
But then also some days I know he freestyles it. So, but during like Worlds Camp, Pan Am's Camp, or any kind of big tournament camp, there's always some form of structure to the training camp, and like he literally writes out what we're gonna do. Yeah, I've seen it before.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, he keeps it all nice and sharp and tight.
But like you just said, that's kind of, obviously he's a world-class coach. That's the mark, is like when you can have to freestyle it. Like maybe you had a plan, then you're like, oh, everyone's beat up, we need to work on something else today, or maybe they could push a little harder.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, he always, makes sure the training is going to push us to the best that he can. And some days, like, if he feels we can do more, we'll do more. Some days if he feels like what he wrote out was like too much, then it's too much.
Yeah.
But we always get a good training in, always.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do I introduce?
We have a guest question from our friend Joe here at Ramstein Jiu-Jitsu. Joe, go ahead.
So,
Here, lean into the mic a little bit.
so yeah, I think a lot of people have some desire to kind of get in the mind of some high-level athletes and practitioners, and I was just wondering, what is your mindset going into competition, dealing with nerves, dealing with stress, and then also in the gym when you're grinding and you're really pushing to get through a session or a mental block? What do you use? Like, just.
Well, like for competing, I've been competing since I was like 12 years old. So like the nerves, they don't really come anymore. I've competed so many times, not one tournament's gonna make it or break it for me. So it's like there's no reason to stress. And I've done it all. Like I've lost, I've won. I've felt it all, and even the worst losses I've had, they weren't that bad. I literally just walked off the mat, and then I felt bad for like a day, and then I realized like, oh shit, like
Time to start training.
let's go back to training, and then the next tournament.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, like I feel like in the long run, every tournament is so like minimal. Like its impact on you is so minimal. There's no reason to stress over it. And for training, it's simple. Just be consistent, and every time I'm in the gym, I try to push it. That's it. Like, I try to be consistent. I try to keep my perfect attendance in the gym, and every time I'm there, I try to roll with the best guys I can that are there, and I try to do my best. Like, there's not much more that you can do to like pump yourself up or psych yourself out. Like, all that's just extra. Like, all that's just it's nonsense to me. Like, to me, all you can do is your best in the gym. That's it. Like, there's no like specific thing that I need to think about or anything like that. It's just work day by day, and when I'm at the gym, I put my work in. When I'm not at the gym, I try to still be productive. I try to get my rest in. I try to keep myself happy by going out and doing other shit, and it's simple. It's a simple recipe to me. Like when I won Worlds at blue and purple and brown, that's all I did. I just trained really hard every day.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
For high-level people like you and the rest of your team, when it comes to strength and conditioning, like wrestlers, for example, they have an off season, or most athletes have an off season, and that's when they like get huge. Like football players, it's like, okay, off season, time to hit the squats, hit the bench, hit like gain a lot of weight. But for jiu-jitsu guys, you don't really have too much of an off season necessarily. So how do you account for that in your strength and conditioning or training overall?
Well, there's kind of an off season, like January to June. I consider the on season, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they do, what they call it.
Where there's lots of games.
Yeah, like January to June, there's Europeans, World Pro, Pans, Worlds, Brazilian Nationals, all the big ones. And then June to December, there's big no-gi tournaments, and then now there's more and more gi tournaments. But for the most part, I like to take June to December to kind of recharge, still train a lot and still train every day and still train hard. But, the mentality is just a little bit different because I try to expand more on other parts of life now, especially with traveling and everything and spreading my jiu-jitsu and, just seeing other things, and then get ready for, Europeans in December and January, and then jump right back into it. And for strength and conditioning, I still haven't figured it out. I'm still going through all sorts of different programs, and I listen to different podcasts and I hear different shit all the time, and I try all sorts of stuff. I feel like as long as you're doing some sort of strength and conditioning, that's all that really matters. I don't know if there is a best way to do it, but as long as you're picking up heavy shit and putting it back down numerous times, you're gonna get strong. And that's kind of what the mindset I try to bring. I focus more on the jiu-jitsu, and then for the weights, it's just to stay healthy and strong, and it's fun also.
What do you do these days? I mean, do you do more powerlifting type stuff, or more Olympic weightlifting, body weight? I know you just said you play around with a lot of stuff, but
yeah, I play around with a lot of stuff. Right now, I'm focusing a lot on these 4 lifts, squats, deadlifts, bench press, and pull-ups. Those 4. Yeah. I feel like if you have a strong pull-up, a strong deadlift, a strong squat, and a strong bench press, you're a strong motherfucker. Yeah. Plain and simple. So if I try to lift real heavy with those, actually not even real heavy, but I just try to lift and progress in those 4 lifts and get stronger that way, but nice and slow. I don't try to kill myself in the gym. And then a lot of sparring, a lot of jiu-jitsu sparring. I don't for me personally, I don't like doing a whole bunch of circuits and stuff. I feel like my conditioning training is in the sparring, and I kind of got that concept or that training method from Keenan. That's the way he likes to do it, and I feel like that way really helps. Just getting strong in the weight room, and then getting fast and good conditioning and everything else in jiu-jitsu.
I think that's a really educated perspective. A lot of people try to kill themselves with conditioning. I used to. Mm-hmm. I still do sometimes. I go a little too hard, and then I'm like, man, I'm just going to be sparring tonight for an hour. Or something like that. It's the same.
Yeah, I'll do 5x5s for all those lifts, those 4 lifts I was talking about, but I won't go super duper heavy where it's where it's killing me, and by the next day I'm just dead sore. I'd rather do 60% and just get through it. You're still getting stronger. It's not you don't have to go full all out every time. And besides that, it lets you train more. It lets you train more, and it lets you train harder. So, yeah, that's I think what I'm doing right now is what I'm going to continue all the way until Worlds.
That makes a lot of sense, and it's good to just stay consistent.
Staying consistent, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's the key.
I'm actually really excited tomorrow. I'm excited that you let me on this podcast because I'm trying to start my own podcast.
What's it going to be called?
That, I don't know. I don't know yet. Naming things is always such a hard thing, you know, especially before it's actually out. So I don't even know what's going to happen on the podcast.
The official Atos podcast.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll figure it out.
Ramstein Jiu-Jitsu podcast. With starring Michael Liera Jr.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's awesome. Let us know when it's out, and I'll put it in the show notes. And if you need any help, let me know. I mean, I do this one, and there's like a few things that I can be like, hey, this is the website that you use. Shout out Libsyn.com.
We'll definitely have to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll send you some messages.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
I know you gotta go, man, and I gotta go too. Is there anything else you guys want to ask, Mike or Joe or anyone? Dan? Nothing.
Oh yeah, I do have something.
Go ahead.
Nice.
So with just training so hard, I know with any mobility work and all that recovery and everything, you have to train hard to really benefit from that. And I was just wondering, what do you do? What is the most effective way for you? Some people use ice baths and rolling and stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to hear your input on that.
I'm the completely wrong person to ask. Like, I train hard, and my way of recovering is I try to take like 10 minutes after training just to lay down. Like when training's done, my secret is to lay down for like 10 minutes and let my body cool down, and then I feel like once that 10 minutes is over, I'm fine, and then I go back home. But it's not working. My back hurts, my shoulders hurt, my fingers are fucked, everything. But I'm still healthy. Like I feel like my body is getting really good at jiu-jitsu and really shitty at every other aspect of life. I tried to pick up a pencil the other day, and like I think I was at the bank or something. I tried to write something, and my hand started like cramping up, and I couldn't do it. Like it had been so long since I'd written something, and I was like cramping up. But I can make a strong ass grip, so
that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Probably I got that pencil in a lead lock or whatever.
Yeah, I felt like the muscles like at the base of my hand start to cramp, and I was like, what the fuck? Has it really been this long? But yeah, actually, I like jumping in the ocean. I live really close to the beach.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jumping in the ocean is always cool.
Do you surf?
Recently, no, I don't surf.
Oh, no.
Recently, like maybe a few months ago, like I started literally like timing myself, like setting a timer and forcing myself to foam roll for like 45 minutes or an hour. Like just like I'll watch TV, but I'll tell myself like, all right, I can't get off of this foam roller. And that helps too. You know?
Foam rolling's very nice.
Yeah, foam rolling helps, and like, you know, most people do it for about 45 seconds and then call it a day. But like I think if you can put like a good hour session in, that will really help too. And you'll actually feel real benefits.
Do you try yoga at all?
Actually, before Worlds, I was doing hot yoga too. The only problem with that was like, it just takes up so much time. So like, you know, it takes up like a good like 2.5. Like if it's an hour and a half yoga session, that's like 2.5 hours to get there and prep and then shower and then get back. So that was like a little bit hard. But I think once Worlds Camp starts back up, I'll try yoga again.
You should try yoga for BJJ. Do you know about that site?
No.
It's my friend Sebastian has it.
Sebastian Broche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been on this podcast before too, and
Rad.
It's fucking awesome.
Rad.
He has like 20-minute classes. You can just fire it up on the internet, and you know you just do it in your bedroom or whatever for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's fucking awesome.
What is it?
Yoga for BJJ.
Yoga for BJJ. I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's great, man. And Sebastian's really cool. He'll like. I message him on Facebook all the time. I'll be like, hey man, I couldn't get a handstand today. Do you have any tips? And he's like, yeah, stop being a little bitch and do a handstand. I don't know, but no, he's great. He's very nice. And he has free YouTube as well, so you can check it out on YouTube and see if you like it.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I've seen his Instagram a little bit. I know him and his girlfriend, right? They do like the partner yoga and stuff.
Yeah,
awesome.
They have a yoga school in Oslo. And I got to go there, and
nice.
It was great. It's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, for recovery and stuff, I don't know. I feel like Like especially like I know this is don't quote me on any of this shit either. This is like my jacked up philosophy on training. Like I feel like the first like maybe like 3 weeks of training or something, like real hard, like when I pick it up real hard for something, or if I've been away for a little bit, or like for instance at the end of this trip when I get back to San Diego, it's gonna be a little bit of a shock, you know, rolling with those killers every day back home. But like after a few weeks of just pushing it, I feel like my body just gets conditioned. Like it just like it kind of realizes like, oh shit, you know, he's not resting. Like we're gonna have to either, you know, harden up or, you know, harden up. So like, yeah, I mean, will I be like broken up by the time I'm 30? Probably, but goddamn, jiu-jitsu's fun. I can't stop.
Thanks a lot for being on the show, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
You're the man. And we'll be in touch, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for doing the seminar.
Yeah, it was good. Good time.
That closed guard sweep you showed.
It was this close to not happening. The seminar was so close.
I know. We had a backup plan, don't worry. We had alternate locations, extra mat space. I was on the phone. I was like, hey, can we do this here? We would have shuttled you to another location. The seminar would have continued.
I'm glad it all worked out. I hope everyone had a good time.
I think they did, man.
And I hope to be back soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to Michael for being on the show, and thanks to all of you guys for listening. Like Michael mentioned during the show, he's working on releasing a podcast of his own. So as you heard, he does not currently, as of this recording, which is on October the 1st, 2016, he doesn't currently have a name or any recordings put out. But as soon as he does, we're going to post those in our show notes at trekjitsu.com. So I'll be sure to promote that on our Facebook pages and Instagram and Twitter and all those things. So check it out when you get a chance, and just keep your eyes on our page, and we'll post links to that podcast, or just keep an eye on his page, whatever works for you. So looking forward to hearing from that. I hope it goes well. Please check out our show notes at trekjitsu.com. You'll find a full list of all the things that we talked about in this show, including links to any people or places or things or techniques or whatever that we talked about. So please check that out at trekjitsu.com. If you want to follow us on social media, check us out on Instagram at trekjitsu, Twitter at trekjitsu_pod. Trekjitsu was taken on Twitter. I don't know who took it, but I'm coming for you guys. On Facebook, we're facebook.com/trekjitsu. So check us out on all those locations. Give us a like, a comment, a share, a tweet, a gram, pirate, like whatever. Share with your friends and spread the word. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you went to iTunes and gave us a 5-star rating and a review. It's a really easy way to support the show and help us continue to do what we do. And lastly, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to my friends at Waves Overhead. Waves Overhead is a pop punk band based out of my home state of Maryland. They are doing a really great job, and they let me use their music as the outro and intro for this podcast. So please check them out at wavesoverhead.bandcamp.com, and you'll be able to download their whole album and give them some money and show them some support. So the song To Make Amends is the official theme song for Trek Jitsu, and I'm going to go ahead and play it right now.
Fuck yeah! Give us another one! Give us another one! Ah!